My name's James Vincent, one of the piano teachers from Vincent Music. I'm going to take you through some pieces here from the Adult Piano Adventures by Nancy and Randall Farmer. So looking here at May Dance on page 90. So May Dance started introducing the C pentascale in the treble clef, the high C. So previously, if you're following through this book, you would have had the F, A, C, E, the face notes, which are quite handy because you can work out all the other notes from the word face, and they spell out the 4 spaces going up on the staff there. So this is the third space up, treble C, and you've got that high hand position, space, line, space, line, space. So May Dance is the piece on that page. It sounds like this. Okay, some challenges there to watch is in the left hand, the notes look basically the same, but subtly they're sneakily in bar 3. You've got that B in there on your second finger. 1, 2, 3. Changing to that B. And other thing that can trick you up is in bar 3, that third skip. If you're still getting used to reading thirds on the staff, thirds being a line to a line or a space to a space, and it can take a little while to get used to that finger change from 4 to 2, from that F to D. And then of course putting together with that B. But yeah, it's quite a nice short little piece. Next we have on page 91, looking ahead, When the Saints Go Marching In. Now this starts to get into some imitation where the right hand and the left hand copy each other. That's sort of mimicking. So yeah, the right hand once again starts on that high treble C pentascale position with your 1 on that C. And the left hand basically imitates it, almost note for note, 2 octaves lower, but it doesn't do that top fifth. The right hand in that first complete bar has C and G as a fifth, whereas when the left hand gets to it, it's just that top G by itself. About there, where I just stop bar 5 to bar 6, there's a whole lot of space notes, lots of thirds, makes it a lot easier, quite easy to read there. Which also happens again in bars 9 and 10 further on, but going ahead from there. Bars 9 and 10, lots of notes from the C major chord. This is quite nice to read too. And yeah, then bars 12 to the end. You've got a basic copycat. Exactly the same time. The right hand's playing with left hand's playing with the right hand's playing from that F, G, C. Sometimes a challenge to watch there is from bar 11 to bar 12, reading that in the left hand, that D, E, F, might seem quite tricky until you realise, once you analyse it, that the F in bar 12 is just 1 note higher than the previous note, bar 11, from that E. So that's quite simply sometimes you can get tripped up and you're sitting there watching, trying to work it out from one line to the next, sort of stopping, where do I go, where do I go, it's F. Other aspects, yeah, the dynamics are fairly easy. It just gets quite strong and loud at the end. And you have a staccato. I guess this can be quite fast too. So lively is basically code for fast. Is about the usual speed for a piece like for that piece there. Going on, so on page 92, got a piece called African Celebration. Now again, this is a very, very fast one as well. See the note on the camera there. Now, as a top speed, of course, that's going to take a while to get up there. In some ways, the left hand seems nice and easy. It just sits in that low C position. There's lots of those fifths, C to G. I guess it's imitating a drum there. Bum, 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 bum. In fact, it's probably not the most entirely politically correct piece, but there's good things about it from a learning perspective, and it's good to get with your speed up. Challenge, you'll notice, like, breaking it down a bit, that second page is basically, for the most part, the same as the first page, just an octave higher. So that right hand. When you get over to bar 25, the other page, it'll be. First page, it'll pay off a lot because you'll be ready for the second page. What else in here? That can get tricky. So I guess it's good to keep reading the patterns. Keep reading when you see line to space. That's a step or a second. So when you see reading space to line, that's a step or a second. So from bars say 5 to 6, you've got kind of the notes are going upward. And then bar 6 they start to go down again. They're either repeat notes or stepping notes. So you've got this kind of just remember things going up or down there. At the end, bar 40, there's almost like a coda or codetta. It's like an add-on at the end. It's like the ending of a drum sort of passage. You've got the RIT, R-I-T. You're slowing down there, building kind of a soundscape. And of course, that 8 VA on the last note, which means to play it an octave lower. It's quite a straightforward piece, but yeah, working up to a higher speed is kind of the challenge there. This is kind of good. So 94, there's a good little exercise here called imitative study. Again, this idea of imitation, left hand copying the right. It's also a musical idea, an immediate repetition of a musical idea played by the other hand. And it gets used a lot in music, in composing and songwriting. So this one sounds like. actually play fast and quiet. This, no exceptions. As you get to the repeat, go back to the beginning, you'll find you're very tempted to drop the speed here. It's a nice, quick sort of exercise. You're going to try to maintain that fast speed. If I went from like bar 8 to do the repeat, so I'm coming out of it nice and loud, and then I'm repeating with a quiet version on the repeat. So from bar 8. Wasn't very controlled actually. So you can see, the left hand plays an idea, sometimes called the motif, but it's just a simple musical idea. Up and down in steps, up and down in seconds, in an arc shape. The right hand immediately repeats it an octave higher. And there's a bit of an overlap with that long note. They sort of overlap each other, so it creates a little bit of a harmony. At bar 5, after all those seconds, we're suddenly going into thirds, into skip notes here. Remember, skips or thirds, you can tell they look like space to spaces, or they look like notes that are going from line to line. So you're either you're skipping a finger or you're skipping a key, and yeah, that can enhance the reading for that. Good exercise. You can build speed on this and get some actual physical work from your fingers here. Great little warm-up piece. So yeah, going further ahead. Let's see. We've got over on page 96. Going to unit 9. You've got your 3 G pentascales in 3 locations. So the G, A, B, C, D on the grand staff. So before, especially in this book, and a lot of other books too, in beginner piano, you're focusing a lot on C position, often middle C position. But in this book, it was the lower C pentascale and the middle C pentascale, and just recently the treble C pentascale. So you've got the 3 positions. Now, for those who have the book, you'll kind of see there if I hold up the camera, you've got 3 G pentascale positions on the staff there. Handy reference. So you got the low G, almost the middle G. This is technically in the bass, but it spills over into a cross middle C above it to the treble, although in this book it's still written in the bass clef. Then you got your right hand on G clef G starting. So the 3 new bass G positions. So you got like a warm up here, octave warm up, which is quite basic, but then again, it's a good way to help you memorize all these different Gs. Sounds like. It's a simple little warm-up exercise. All those Gs there. And they've got some warm-ups here on page 97. That'd be good. They're just going through the 3 different G positions. You've got your right hand, treble G warm-up. Getting that hand ready for the new G position. A lot of this is for your eyes and brain, getting used to reading in something outside of C. Now the left hand, this is in the bass clef G. Often it's hovering around that middle C area of the piano. Try it again. And finally you got the low G. You'll notice this pattern's kind of been repeated. It's the same melody in the 3 different positions. So once you've done that very first top one, you find it'd be quite easy to do the bottom two, because they're almost just copycats, going down 1 octave and the bottom one's down 2 octaves. What else we got? So turning the page, you've got a new one called Musette, from the composer unknown in the Anna Magdalena Bach notebook. Yeah, it's a bit controversial who wrote this. They used to say Bach wrote it. Some people saying it's Bach's wife, Anna Magdalena. Others say they throw dinner parties and people would come over and randomly write tunes, almost like when signing a guest book or something, they'd write a tune instead, and this is one of them. Either way, it's quite a catchy little piece, and we're beginning to look at here the beginnings of speed indications other than English. So Italian tempo marks or Italian speed marks. You've got your andante, which is like a walking speed. You might have a moderato, which is more medium, kind of, And you've got your more allegro piece, which is what this is. Allegro meaning fast and lively, and it sounds like. There's a question there, but you can, again, we're revising these new G pentascales, so they've kind of got an open version G pentascale in the right hand. Left hand, it's 2 octaves apart. Very staccato, jumpy bass with a nice melody on top, and this kind of contrasting section to that melody, which is like contrasting in a couple of ways. Most of it's staccato, bars 3 and 4, and it's all piano, which is quiet. So you get this sort of question-answer effect between those two sections. So bars 1 and 2, you've got the theme, and kind of an echo or an answer at that second section. The challenges in this one is the classic thing of the right hand articulation is legato, whereas you've got the staccato on the left hand. Trying to coordinate that can be quite tricky sometimes. You're doing things slowly. Can be helpful, even way slower. And you may even want, if you're trying to learn everything from the beginning and the rhythm's feeling a bit challenging, you could even look at just getting through the articulation correctly. So you may do something like, in your own time, I call it strolling, where you just meander, don't worry about the rhythm, and try to get the articulation right. So when the left hand's playing a short note, the right hand might be holding over the top, just to get the coordination, the articulation correct. Might end up being something like. That can be a useful thing to do. It's good in your practice to, concentrate on one element of the music. Often that means at the beginning you're concentrating on, letter names. So you might be saying the notes as you're playing or thinking them in your head. You might be, the other classic element is just to focus on rhythm. So you might be just clapping the rhythm. Say, to the left hand, you might be going 1, 4, counting the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you can be doing other elements like articulation or dynamics, which might simply be getting the short feels right or the slowed feels right. In the right sequence. And if you can handle more elements together, you can put them together in your practice. But yeah, look, that's just looking a little bit further ahead on the book. I hope that's helpful for this adult piano adventure by Nancy and Randall Farber. And yeah, I'll catch